So the other day, I was in my survival island world, you should check it out, link in the description, and I was building a skeleton XP farm. And after I finished it, I thought, you know what, these skeletons aren't dying fast enough. I want to be able to just smack them once, and they die, and I get their juicy experience. So I thought, you know what, I'll just dig 22 blocks down from where that drops them off, and they'll die. Unfortunately, I was only about 8 blocks above bedrock, so I couldn't really go much deeper. So I thought, how am I going to fix this? So I started tinkering away with this little design that you see here behind me. Today, I'm going to show you how I made it. So before we begin with the actual build, an important thing to note is this build utilizes slime blocks on a piston to bounce skeletons around. But slime sticks to most blocks. There are 3 blocks, as far as I know, that it doesn't stick to. This is in Java Edition anyway, it might be a little bit different in Bedrock. So you can see here, if you power up the piston here behind it, slime pops out, but it takes this stone block with it, which if you're trying to build in tight little enclosed spaces, isn't ideal. You don't want that. So there's 3 blocks here that I know of. We've got obsidian, furnace, and any glazed terracotta. As you can see, it does not stick to the slime at all. So that's very important to know. In the build here, I've used obsidian, but that might be expensive and annoying to gather. So you can use furnaces if you want, or terracotta, or obsidian if you have an excess of it. With that out of the way, let's get on with the build. So a quick overview first. This here is your generic skeleton mob spawner that you'll find in dungeons and whatnot, down in caves when you're exploring. And to build any classic spawn trap, you want to dig the 4 blocks away in every direction from the spawner. I haven't done the roof or anything because I'm lazy, but this is basically what you want to do. Just this will be a lot higher and cover the roof here. Then you put a slab on top of the spawner, like so. So that stops them from also spawning on top of the spawner. Then you just want to put buckets of water all the way along the back wall here. They will run to this point here where you want to dig 1 block down, put 1 water source in the corner here, and anything that spawns will slide on down, slow and steady, drop down here, shimmy all the way across, and then fall down here. So that is a good old-fashioned, you can find tutorials for that kind of build all over the place. So that is the main part. That's where all the skeletons come out of. Next, the bit that I've added on is this tower here. So this is above ground. If you're building it in a cave where you'd find a natural spawner, of course this would all be done already. You just want to dig the tunnels and stuff. But let's show you the 2 main mechanisms that cause this thing to work. So once you drop down here, you want to go 3 blocks drop down and then build a tunnel, or dig a tunnel that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks long. And then at the 8th block, you want to break it 1 down and put a sign, and then put some water. So the water runs over into here, and then gets stopped. So anything that's in here will get pushed along all the way to the end here, and then drop down. So now we're going to show you the first mechanism, which is the one here that pushes the skeletons into the bubble elevator. Okay, so here we have a very simplified version of what's going on over here. So say you put the sign there, don't write anything on it, well you can if you want. And there's the water source that is running from your spawner setup to here. So things come in, they'll fall down slowly, and then boop, they're in the next part of your machine. But the bubble elevator that you want to build starts here. how are you going to make them consistently come over here every time? Well, what you're going to want to do is break this block here, and this block here. Then down here, place a hay bale with a pressure plate on it. I don't know if the hay bale actually does anything, or if this fall should be slow enough that anything falling through won't take any fall damage, because we want them to be at full health when they fall off the top, so that when they land, they're exactly one hit away from dying. So this block here is a pressure plate on it. You then want to, if you're underground, of course, you're going to have to mine all this out. As long as you can come out here with some redstone, and let's say, where are we? We need some stone. There we go. Don't need you anymore. So let's say that the piston sits here. Well, because it will. There's no let's say about it. We'll go like this, and just connect it up with a very simple redstone path. You can probably even do it simpler than that, honestly. If you're tight for space, you can just go out here like so. Then the important part here is, because you're going to put a slime block here, you need to make sure that any block that the slime will interact with cannot be stone. It has to be furnace or obsidian or whatever you have the most readily available. So I'm just going to use furnaces in this case, because they're probably the most likely block to have available early on in the game at least. Or it's just easier instead of trying to get a bunch of obsidian. Then you want to put the slime block on top of the piston. And the last step for this part of the contraption is 2 blocks of ice here to slide along. So what should happen is, mob falls in, they're gonna get stuck in this bit, they fall down, and get pushed out by the piston. So that is the first part of the mechanism done. The next step is making a bubble elevator to carry the mobs up to where you want them to drop down from. So they're very simple to make. I just made one recently in my main survivor world. So basically all you gotta do is build a little tower here like this. Just need to go like a cross, I guess. Put some signs here to hold the water back. And then in this case we're going to be building 22 blocks up, but in your case you might be, if you're doing this underground, you'll be digging 22 blocks up. So we'll go do that real quick. So 1, 2, 3, and 22. So now we're at the height that we want the skeletons to pop out at, so they can fall to be exactly one shot. So then all you gotta do is, oops, not pop down. I want to make sure I have a bucket of water, and you really want to make sure that you put those signs down the bottom first, or else the water's going to run in and destroy all your redstone down there. So you just plop a bucket of water here, give it time to flow all the way down. Then you want to make sure you have 22 kelp on hand. So we're going to go down to here, and then fill up this whole tube here with kelp, all the way to the top like that. Then what you're going to want to do is jump back down to the bottom, break the very bottom kelp block like that, break that grass there, put some soul sand down, and those bubbles means that it's worked. So what you can see now is, say you land on this pressure plate, you get pushed up into the bubble tower here and pop out at the top. But where are you going to go from here? That is the next mechanism that we're going to be building, and that one is actually going to be up the top here. It's very similar to the one down the bottom with a few little tweaks. So now that your skeletons are popped out here at the right height that you want them to be, to get them over into this little kill hole here, I'm going to do a very similar construction to what we did down on the ground floor, but it's going to be a little bit different. So I need to replace, first things first, let's replace this block here with a furnace or obsidian or terracotta or whatever. Same with this block and this block. Then what you're going to want to do is, again, if you're doing this underground, you'd want to dig one block either side like this and connect two tripwire hooks and a string going across the middle here like that. So once you get pushed up the bubble thing, it triggers a tripwire and will then send a redstone signal to, you guessed it, another piston. So we're going to put some more of these down. Slime block here, no, there. And then we want to put the piston facing the right way. There we go. And then basically, it's just a matter of, once again, connecting the redstone. I think for this one here, I do repeater coming out the back, and then just a simple redstone down like that. So you can see, activate the tripwire, pushes you out, and then comes back in. So also going to need to put one more furnace on top like that, and you're good to go. And that is basically all the mechanisms done. After that, so like you see here, you get pushed up, fall down, land here. All you really need to do is dig or build 22 blocks down. So then all the skeletons will land right here. Dig a little platform down so you can see them land. And then you can just punch them away in peace. They can't attack you, especially if you put a slab there. All you're going to see is their feet, and you just hit them once with a sword. Any sword works, and they die immediately. And to prove it, or to not prove it, to show how efficient it is, we are going to quickly block off this spot here. And then we're going to sit in front of this one here that I built earlier for, let's say, 5 minutes. We'll sit in front of it for 5 minutes, see how many skeletons spawn, and then we will just smack them once with a sword and see how much XP we get. Okay, we have been standing here, just minding our own business, for however long the timer says on the video. So let's see, with one swing of this wooden sword, how much XP we get. Eight levels. That's not too shabby at all. Plus, you know, you're going to get some bones and arrows and bows and whatever. But it's not, I know it's not the best. It's not going to be as good as those Ender Farm, like, whatever things you get, or the most intense furnace, smelter, XP farm thing that you've seen from Mumbo or whatever. But for an early, pretty early days XP farm, I think it's pretty dang good. Obviously you can put like a hopper down here to collect all the items with the chest system, whatever you want to do. But yeah, That was just 5 minutes of standing here. You can stand here for as long as you want. Just go AFK, let them build up, come back, smack them once with a wooden sword, and they die immediately. So yeah, that is it for this little tutorial. Hope you enjoyed, hope you can incorporate this into your world somehow. Hopefully it made sense. And yeah, that's it from me. I will see you guys next time.